Junkies. We're reviewing a film called Lamb, an Icelandic drama, which kind of feels like it could be a horror, but also feels like it could be a fantasy. It's a bizarre, strange, fantastical, almost folk tale film set in Iceland, made by an Icelandic director, Valdimar Jóhannsson, and starring Noomi Rapace, who was from the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Fabulous actress. She looks like she's almost been carved from a glacier. She's got remarkable bone structure, and so it's a remarkable face to look at. And this is the story of a couple who run a homestead, a sheep farm of sorts, if you like, in the barren tundra of the Icelandic landscape. They have lots of sheep, and the film starts with just showing the sheep. Now, I went to see this with Maddie, and she just loves animals. And, you know, the personalities of the animals in this film, I just want to say from the outset, this is a film with two main actors, a third actor who comes in, and animals. And the animals are as expressive or have as much of a presence and personality in this film as, say, they do in something like Animal Farm. It really is. They really do. It's quite an astonishing film for that. So they run a farm. I think it's inferred that the relationship isn't particularly stimulating for either of them. They don't talk that much. There's not much affection between them both. When they do talk, it's about really boring things like the tractor or the hay and stuff like that. Maddie leant over at one point and said, it's not a very interesting relationship, is it? And it really isn't. And it's a slow build. It's a slow burner, this film. You know, it has a very, very slow development, but stick with it. Stick with it. It's worth sticking with it. The sheep get pregnant. They help deliver the lambs. You know, there's some real scenes with Noomi Rapace with a hand up a sheep's arse and pulling these baby lambs out, and we watch them being born and standing on their own 2 feet. And I don't think it's a spoiler to say, because it's in the trailer, that they stumble across one particular lamb that isn't just lamb. This is a lammunoid, I'm going to call it, a sort of humanoid lamb, half human. And this lands in their lives. This sort of disrupts the family structure. Now, the parallels with a sort of semi-religious arrival in a barn or a manger are obviously there. Could that be why they've released it at Christmas? Not too sure. But also this humanoid child / lamb, presumably is also like a replacement child, because it's inferred and then shown that Noomi Rapace and her husband have lost a child called Ada. So in a sense, this baby has been sent as a replacement. And what's bizarre about it is that, of course, their eyebrows are raised. They're like, what the fuck is this thing? And then they proceed to take it into their family, get it a cot, encourage it to grow up as a child within their family lives. Well and good. Strange, but well and good. Some curious CGI in there to make this work. Some curious scenes of the lamb baby in a cot that kind of works. And then thrown into the centre of this sort of setup, if you like, is the husband's brother, who's a former rock star. And what I really like about this character's introduction is a car drives through the wilderness, pulls up in the middle of the sort of Arctic tundra of Iceland with volcanoes all around, and he's thrown out of a car. He's just thrown out of a car and he lands on the floor, and you think, what the fuck's happening here? And he traipses up, goes to the farm that his brother runs, and we're told and shown that he's actually had some kind of a thing with Noomi Rapace, the wife. So he enters the fray, and of course he comes across Ada, the sheep lamb child. And his response is both true, honest, authentic, funny, and chilling, because you're not too sure whether he's going to, you know, dob on them, tell the police, kill it. You don't know what's going to happen. He's quite sort of, you think, oh my God, what's he going to do? He's so sort of appalled and stunned by this strange development. But very slowly he kind of becomes part of the family structure. And I won't give away what happens within them and between them, but that develops quite a lot. This is a really strange film. I really don't want to give away the ending, because it's one of those rare films where the final scene was a complete shock and a complete surprise, and me and Maddie looked at each other like that. We couldn't quite believe what was happening in this film. It's a really odd movie. It has at times elements and feelings like The Witch, that film where you don't see very much and not very much happens, but it's incredibly effective at building atmosphere and a sense of ominous foreboding. Mysterious things happen to some of the animals on the farm. You miss some of the animals on the farm when certain things happen, like you miss a key character. You know, there are times where you're really yearning for the desires and feelings of the animals. And what this film does in a curious way is, I think what it's trying to do, and there's one particular shot which zooms in for an eternity on a photograph that's on the wall in one of the rooms in the house of lots of sheep. And it just zooms in and zooms in and zooms in until all these lamb and sheep faces all blur into this kind of abstract image of just sheep. And it makes you think, this film makes you think, with the landscape, with the rock, with all the tundra, with the glaciers, with the snow, everything. It makes you think that for how many millennia have sheep been in this land, part of this land, for far longer than humans have been. And then humans come in and try and control the sheep, corral them, pen them in, shear them for wool, sell the lambs for meat. They've been abused and they've been taken advantage of. And there's been a sort of genocide of sorts, if you like, of these sheep and animals. And I think this film is essentially a metaphor for what humans do to indigenous people. And this essentially becomes almost a sort of revenge thriller about that. And this humanoid child is almost a manifestation of the way in which sheep and humans have coexisted and lived alongside each other. It builds and builds and builds to this tense standoff at the end and this surprising development. It's really calmly, it's not sensationally shot, but it doesn't need to be. The landscape is just, it's just epic. It's, to truly use the word, awesome. This is the landscape of giants, and we're watching this microcosmic little development within this family. Some really funny moments in there. It's got a sense of humour. Really funny moment where the brother of the husband was a former rock star, as I said, and we watched one of his videos, and it's quite a good tune actually. I quite liked it, and he's dancing and all that kind of stuff. So that's quite funny. They're watching football at one time and they're getting so excited because Iceland might win. It's a really gentle, thought-provoking film, and we both came out really liking it. We both came out really drawn to, because we thought we weren't going to be convinced by Lamb Child. But Lamb Child, don't be put off by this idea. It looks strange, it looks batshit crazy. It is batshit crazy, it is weird. And the way in which Lamb Child is threaded into family life and threaded through this film is entirely convincing. You will buy into it, you will sign up to it, but be warned, it is a slow build getting there, but it's worth the time watching this in order to get the remarkable payoff at the end. A huge twist, a wrenching twist that will leave you going, what the fuck was that all about? So if I was to score this film, I'd probably give this film 85 out of 100. Sometimes it could have been a bit tighter. Sometimes I didn't quite feel where it knew where it was going in the smallest sense. But by and large, the scope of it, the size of it, the small size of it, the focusing in on family structure, their relationship was brilliant. Noomi Rapace was absolutely excellent, wonderful performance. Her husband was great, the brother was great. It's a really strong ensemble cast, and they really convince us as a viewer to believe in this lamb child, and the technology that they use for the lamb child is very subtle, very gentle, but entirely effective.
For more film and family fun, don't forget to click the subscribe button and make sure to click the bell to never miss an update.